I'm Jade McNeil and welcome to the BEESPACE Podcast, your bi-weekly dose of business and property realness. No hype, no fluff, and definitely no BS. Just honest conversations about what it really takes to build something from nothing. Hello and welcome to the BEESPACE Podcast with me, your host Jade McNeil. So guys, I really want to kickstart this episode by just saying an absolutely massive thank you. A thank you to everybody that has listened so far to the pod, that has taken the time out to reach out to me, drop me a DM or a voice note or, a comment on Instagram, just kind of saying, how much they've enjoyed it so far. And it's been pretty overwhelming, to be fair. I'm not quite sure what I expected when I launched the podcast. I wasn't sure whether people would be interested, whether it'd be relevant. I kind of obviously hoped it was, but yeah, the response has been really, really overwhelming and I'm really touched. So thank you so much. And, I'm really proud to be a female voice in the business and property space. And I hope that, telling my kind of story my way and, being honest and open about stuff can really inspire others. And yeah, just keep listening along with me and I'll keep doing that, I promise. So this episode is actually the first episode that I've recorded since the pod went live. So it's my first chance to kind of just say thank you to you all. And it's really, really, I appreciate it so much. In this episode today, I am going to talk about something which, oh my God, it's like so important. And it always comes up in conversation with all of my clients because it's something that we all need to harness and improve on to make business life, more fun and more enjoyable. So I'm going to be talking about like my ultimate hack to structuring your time better. Now, what's triggered me to pull this episode forward in our planned schedule for the pod is I posted on my stories a couple of weeks ago, so at some point in April, a mentee of mine had worked on her week schedule. She's very busy, she's got 2 small children, lots going on, so she was showing me a weekly schedule of how she'd kind of broken up time around nursery, and I just reshared it to my stories, and like my DMs blew off, and everybody was like, "Oh my goodness, look at that is insane. I need that in my life." So I thought I would cover it in a pod, and I would cover kind of what my approach is to looking at structuring my own time available to basically be more effective within my own business and my own life. And just kind of utilizing the time that I have available to make sure everything gets done and I'm also happy. So the way I feel like I need to kind of set the tone here is I want to tell you all a very quick story about kind of where this method of mine came from, what made me kind of like create it, if you were. So back in the end of 2018, so my kids would have been 1 and 3. We'd just moved into rented accommodation because we'd sold our house to buy the barn, which I now live in, and we'd started along the process of self-build. My BEESPACE then was, seriously in the grassroots stages of being a design business, a consultancy design business for other property developers, but I was really, really busy. So everything's kind of progressing and moving forward, but I was really, really limited on hours available to kind of do everything. So at that point, the children would have been in nursery. I think one of them might have been in 2.5 days, the other one a day and a half. Like they never had the time available to put them both in at the same time. So I was essentially working every nap time and every evening just to kind of keep on top of everything that was coming my way. What I've also forgot to mention there is that we were also doing a lot of development on our own HMOs. So I would have had various of my own projects, like, in full-on construction mode as well. So self-build, 2 small kids, loads of projects in construction, a growing consultancy business, and about 2 days a week to do it all in. So what happened, unfortunately, is that in December 2018, I got really poorly. I pretty much spent, I think, about 2 to 3 weeks on the run up to Christmas, just the worst timing ever particularly when you've got kids, in bed. Like, I was absolutely decked. So had some test, and on Christmas Eve, my cousin took me to the doctors to get some test results. And I remember going in, and it's like the last appointment on Christmas Eve. And the doctor sits me down and said, okay, so, your test results, it's an infection in your kidneys. And usually this type of infection is created by like alcohol abuse. It's something that typically we see in alcoholics. Do you have a drink problem? So I'm like, oh my goodness, absolutely do not have a drink problem. So he said, well, kind of tell me about your life and what's going on. And he said, yeah, this is the byproduct of stress and anxiety. And at the time, I was thinking, I mean, yeah, I know I've got a lot on, but that's kind of like just the mode that I'm used to operating in. But my brain was telling me one thing, my body was definitely telling me another. And it was like, no, we need to rest. We need to rest because you're at burnout and you've taken too much on. So, kind of tried to rest as much as I can over the Christmas period, switch off a little bit. So in January 2019, I can remember sitting at the kitchen table thinking, there has to be a better way to do this. Like, I have limited hours, that's not changing. And all of these things we've got going on are not just going to go away. So I need to find more of a effective way to utilize the time that I've got. Okay, well, how do I do that? So I went back to basics, really. And this sounds really simple. And I'm going to encourage everyone that kind of listens to this that thinks, it might be that you are self-employed and you feel like I'm in the trenches day to day and I'm fighting the fires and I can't get out of it. Or it could be that, you are in the 9-to-5 day job and you want to go into self-employment and you've got even limited hours available. Say you work in evenings and so on. So it's really looking at what time you've got available, but kind of following this process will help. I guarantee that. So I sat at the table, I got myself a couple of marker pens, big piece of paper, and I thought, right, I'm going to visualize kind of BEESPACE as a corporation. So for me back then, I was kind of like, not fresh out of corporate, but I'd only ever known corporate. And by that point, I would have been out of it officially a year. I've only ever known that kind of corporate structure. So I've visualized, I wrote out BEESPACE, kind of the way that a corporate structure, would be for me, that was relevant for me. And I came up with kind of the department heads within the business. So for me, that would have been operations, marketing, finance, communications, and face-to-face, like business to business, let's say. And within all of those departments, I kind of put the tasks in that I was working on. So I put them all in, and it soon became really clear that, like, oh, I'm doing quite a lot of that, or, I'm not doing so much of this. So I was soon able to kind of slice up what was happening in front of me and think, right, okay, well, there's all the tasks. And that's kind of like, the similarities within the tasks. I've got this time available in front of me and I need to get these tasks into it. So I decided to kind of allocate time available on certain days to certain departments within the business. So, for example, what worked really well for me was kind of working on the operational things on the start of the week on a Monday. So that's all the, kind of operational to-do list type tasks that always need to be done, that you can't escape. I've always kind of found it really beneficial to do that at the start of the week. So I'd spend a Monday kind of doing that. And then on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, depending on, at that point, like, you know, the childcare situation, I would focus on the finance. So, you know, paying things, checking bank accounts, sending invoices at that point when I was doing that, reconciling, so on and so forth. And I'd kind of do ring fence all of that at the same time. And then again, the same with like the marketing tasks. So things like creating content, things like, you know, writing out emails or blogs or things like that, like anything kind of marketing, brand, content related, I would put all together. And then always on the business to business, so the face-to-face stuff, kind of, you know, I'd always have one particular day when I'd be like, that's when I can go to building sites for me, or I can go to meetings, and I would organise my face-to-face diary in that way. So what that means is that on set days, I've allocated it to that department. I'm just going to jump in and interrupt this episode to let you know that tickets are now for sale for my next all-female face-to-face event. The Start, Grow and Scale event will take place on the 14th of June in my hometown of Nottingham. I've been hosting my event since 2019, and I'm really proud to say that within that time I've connected so many females, and, you know, people have travelled from all the different parts of the UK to attend. On the day, you can expect to find me with an inspiring panel of female business owners. I promise you something, my events, they're not corporate, they're not stuffy, they're nothing like anything else in the property industry. No matter what stage of business and property development you're at, come for the day, connect and be part of the community. Head to the show notes below, click on the link to grab your ticket now. Now, let's get back to the episode. So what that will help you to do is that you can, the things that are in progress, so the things that need to be done, you know, you can almost kind of put them in a box in your mind and be like, okay, I know that needs doing, but I do that on a Monday, and then do that on a Monday, and so on and so forth. Now, what this helped me do in my situation back then is, when I was at the start of the business, it really helped me kind of keep those feelings of overwhelm and kind of that feeling of, oh, I've not done that, you know, that needs to happen, or I need to get that done. It really helped me manage that, which made the whole thing much more kind of enjoyable, really. Fast forward to today, so it is currently now 2024, so that's 6 years ago when I first did the process. And you know what? Things fundamentally haven't changed too much. The kind of way my working week looks now is really similar. So on a Monday, I still do the operational things. You know, I get through that to-do list. I answer any notifications. I make sure I'm up to date in my Trello and all my Slack notifications. You know, I make sure I've answered everybody in my team. I've asked the questions that I need to know. I kind of can see their to-do list. So I do all my operational stuff on a Monday. Check in with my operations manager, see where he's at, see if there's any information I need to know about the portfolio, and create any actions for the up and coming week. For me now, on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, I am client facing. So that on a Tuesday, I work with my business coaching clients, and typically on a Wednesday, I work with my mentees, my property mentees. On a Thursday is when I go out. I go out and I go to my sites, I check in with my build teams, have a look at things and check progress and make a plan and kind of make myself any kind of, right, need to think about getting that on order next and seeing where we are with the process. And then on a Friday, I have my sacred day off. So I do not work Fridays because Fridays for me are my day. It's my day where I choose to go and do the one thing that I love more than anything in the world, which is spend time with my horse, and I go training. And I absolutely love that. And it just gives me, you know, I'm not in mum mode, I'm not in business mode. I'm kind of like right back there, being 16 all over again, living my best life training. And I've definitely knuckled down in my Monday to Thursday working week to protect my Friday, to make sure that when I get to Friday, I can sit there and I can say, yep, I'm up to date, I'm on track, And, I can take my day off knowing that I'm not leaving loads of, unanswered questions or tasks behind me. And kind of having that really strong structure in my week is absolutely the thing that has enabled me to get to that point where I can comfortably work a 4-day week. I made that decision for myself to take Fridays off around 2 years ago. And I said, I'm going to protect that. I'm going to work more efficiently Monday to Thursday, and I'm going to protect my Fridays. And actually, that has just been the best decision that I've made. And actually, that is actually a point that I really want to cover in this episode, is around the self-care. I think, any one of my clients that work with me, when we kind of go through the way they're using their time and their weekly structure, they 9 out of 10 people will go through what they've got planned, and in their schedule is nothing to do with them. Like, it's all about the business, which I totally get and completely resonates. But, we as business owners also have to elevate our minds and think, I need to also take care of me so I can function and operate in the best version of myself. So, baking in some time, and I'm not saying it can be a full day off to start with, because I get that. That's not probably realistic for somebody that's in the very early stages of business, in the start stages, or even further along in scale, and they're, going in and rewiring all the systems and bringing in new team members. I get it, like, you have to be around more. But even if it's just having, an hour every other day where you can go for a run, or you go to an art class or a swim, like whatever it is, that thing that brings you joy, where you can disconnect and kind of recharge yourself mentally and physically, that needs to be put into that schedule. Obviously, kind of, what would be amazing if you can get the full day off, and I would absolutely say that, build your business to that. Something that's, I've worked towards and been very conscious of for the second half of this year is that I actually want to make sure that I'm freeing up more time in my working schedule so I can, work on, other business ideas that I've got and content related ideas that I've got. So I've got more time within that week that I can allocate that to, because I know from that decision, more growth will come within what I'm doing on the consultancy side with BEESPACE. So kind of having that mindset approach to, okay, this is the time I've got available, this is the stuff that needs to get done, and understanding how that stuff can go together is super important. And just, having that really strong, that visualization of, okay, well, all of those tasks that need to happen on a Tuesday will happen on a Tuesday. So therefore I'll put them here, they're listed, they're going to get done. And then that's really going to allow you to not be crippled by any sense of like you're not doing enough or overwhelmed, because you do not want to end up like how I was in December in 2018, because it was just not any fun. Now, to really support yourself, when you are structuring time, you're going to obviously need the systems that can support you to become more efficient. So I think, on a very basic level, when I'm working with somebody, we're working with a client and we're looking at this, and I say, okay, do we have this in place and that in place, and what's working and what's not working, what most people are going to need on the system side is you're going to need something that can create you and help you monitor, a really good to-do list. Sounds really basic, but we all live and die by our to-do list, don't we? And if we can create one that can split into the relevant departments of the business, this then helps us kind of segregate out and then create priorities within it. So my kind of 3 top recommendations for that would be Asana, Trello, and also Microsoft To Do. Now, Asana and Trello, I like to describe these from my own experiences of working with them both. One, Asana, I think, is if you're more kind of data driven, if you love an Excel spreadsheet, I think you're going to be Team Asana. If you're like me and you're slightly more creative and visual, I think you're going to go over to Trello. Microsoft To Do is also great, and it's very, very simple and easy to use. So maybe if you're just starting out and you're feeling a bit about systems, maybe give that one a go. But honestly, like just getting into the flow and starting off very simply with either of them is absolutely going to be better than having nothing. There are so many kind of free snapshot tutorials online for all of these incredible systems that have been created for us, that we can go, and even at the most basic level of technology understanding, you'll be able to get going with something that's going to help you. The other thing that I really think that you're going to need is a place to save your files. So I'm talking now about a shared file space, and I guess the best ones here are probably G Drive, which is super easy to use. My favorite, which is Dropbox, and also OneDrive as well. So either of those three, and I'm sure there's many others out there, but they're just the three that at some point or other we've used and I've enjoyed and I've liked. Either of those three are really, really going to do the job for you. I think also a really good thing to mention, talking about systems, it doesn't matter at what stage of business that you're at, is that you're going to need a decent banking integration system, into your business. So for us at the moment, since 2017, we've been using Free Agent, which is part of, we get it free with our NatWest banking, so that works really well. I know people that use QuickBooks and Xero as well. There's definitely others out there, but those three, using a banking system that can track payments and invoices and you can reconcile straight from a bank, I just know, regardless of what your business is or where your property development's at, integrating that banking system in the early days is just going to save you so much time. The reason why I've kind of ring-fenced, something that can master a to-do list, something that can save your files and folders and a banking system, is because I am I am all for building something to scale. So if I can't pick it up and access it on my phone while I'm the other side of the world, it's not scalable. So we need to have everything. It's no good. Oh, it's on an Excel spreadsheet, which is on my Mac, which is da-da-da-da-da. That is just going to make you waste time. You're going to create errors. Like it's just going to be really, really problematic. So having those simple systems in place where you can, at the drop of a hat, pick your phone up, no matter where you are in the world, answer something, communicate something, send something, check something, that is the name of the game. And it doesn't matter if you are, your turnover is £1,000 a month or £100,000 a month. Like, these principles are absolutely key. And if they are not there and they don't work, you're inevitably going to cause yourself problems in your own working schedule. And we're all about, this kind of hack and looking at your time and slicing it up in this way. It's all about it being kinder to you, it working, and it being enjoyable, because being stuck in those relentless trenches of the day-to-day and thinking, I just can't get out, I'm just fighting fires, is just not a nice place to be. But systemization and using your time effectively will work 100% and make life much more fun. What I will say here is it's definitely, there has to be a strong element of self-management, because you've got to stick to the schedule that you've put out in front of you. And not get distracted, and try and stick to it as much as possible. Now, obviously for me, and I'll often talk about this on my Instagram stories and stuff, like sometimes you get a curveball in life, because that is the nature of self-employment. And maybe one of your kids is poorly or something happens, and or it's half term and you cannot physically continue to operate that schedule as you've intended. And do you know what? That's fine. Like, that is absolutely just, it's unexpected. But if 7 times out of 10 you do, I can absolutely promise you that it will improve, you know, the day-to-day for you, and you stick into it. So in summary, you know, really think about looking at your own business and those tasks that you're constantly working on, piecing them together like a corporation, and then dividing your time up accordingly. I promise will make a huge difference to you in your working week. Over the years, as I've been building up BEESPACE, you know, there's so much, so many times where as things have grown, I've thought, oh my goodness, this feels uncomfortable. And I've always kind of found a new way of systemizing by bringing somebody else in, by improving, and, you know, to make sure that ultimately I'm growing a business that I love and that gives me the lifestyle that I desire. So if you've, you know, if you want to have a chat with me about, you know, us working together, and if you think I can support you in your business growth, then please reach out to me, drop me an Instagram, a DM on Instagram, and let's have a chat about that. I'm really proud to say that, you know, I've supported many incredible business owners over the years through my mentoring program and now through my coaching program. And it is all about kind of, you know, being proactive and not reactive to situations, and kind of making sure that we are utilising our time, which obviously has a knock-on effect to the team, you know, when we're going to talk later about building the dream team. And you know, if I can support you on that, if I can support you to improve that, then please reach out to me and let's have a chat. So that is the end of this episode. Thank you for joining me again. And I really hope that this subject of how to structure your time better is a massive help to you. Let me know how you get on. That's a wrap for another episode of the BEESPACE Podcast. I've been your host, Jade McNeil, property developer, mentor, and business coach. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite platforms. And until next time, remember, don't believe the hype and always keep it real.